Footnotes from the Life Application Study Bible. Barabbas had been arrested for his part in a rebellion against the Roman government, and although he had committed a murder, he may have been a hero among the Jews. The fiercely independent Jews hated to be ruled by pagan Romans. They hated paying taxes to support the despised government and its gods. Most of the Roman authorities who had to settle Jewish disputes hated the Jews in return. The time was ripe for rebellion. This crowd was most likely a group of people loyal to the Jewish leaders. But where were the disciples and the crowds who days earlier had shouted, "Praise God in highest heaven"? Jesus' sympathizers were afraid of the Jewish leaders, so they went into hiding. Another possibility is that the multitude included many people who were in the Palm Sunday parade, but who turned against Jesus when they saw that he was not going to be an earthly conqueror and their deliverer from Rome. The Jewish leaders hated Pilate, but they went to him for the favor of condemning Jesus to crucifixion. Pilate could see that this was a frame-up. Why else would these people who hated him and the Roman Empire be represented, asked him to convict one of their fellow Jews of treason and give him the death penalty? Crucifixion was a Roman penalty for rebellion. Only slaves or those who were not Roman citizens could be crucified. If Jesus died by crucifixion, he would die the death of a rebel and slave, not of the king he claimed to be. This is just what the Jewish religious leaders wanted, and the reason they whipped the mob into a frenzy. Not only did they want to kill him, but they also wanted to wipe out his teachings and his memory. In addition, crucifixion would put the responsibility for killing Jesus on the Romans. The region of Judea, where Pilate ruled as governor, was little more than a hot and dusty outpost of the Roman Empire. Because Judea was so far from Rome, Pilate was given just a small army. His primary job was to keep the peace. We know from historical records that Pilate had already been warned about other uprisings in his region. Although he may have seen no guilt in Jesus and no reason to condemn him to death, Pilate wavered when the Jews in the crowd threatened to accuse him of rebelling against Caesar. Such a report, accompanied by a riot, could cost him his position and hopes for advancement. Although Jesus was innocent according to Roman law, Pilate caved in to political pressure. He abandoned what he knew was right, trying to second-guess the Jewish leaders. Pilate gave a decision that would please everyone while keeping himself safe. When we ignore God's clear statements of right and wrong and make decisions based on the preferences of our audience, we fall into compromise and lawlessness. God promises to honor those who obey him, not those who make everyone happy. Who was guilty of causing Jesus' death? In reality, everyone was at fault. The disciples deserted him in fear. Peter denied that he ever knew Jesus. Judas betrayed him. The crowds who had followed him stood by and did nothing. Pilate condemned him and tried to blame the crowds. The religious leaders actively sought Jesus' death. The Roman soldiers tortured him. If you had been there, watching these trials, what would your response have been?